What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Haven't been at y'all in a minute. This is your man Theo, hard in the paint, with no subjects out of bounds. Absolutely no subjects out of bounds. I've been gone for a minute in school, Florida State Seminoles. Yes, I do represent the Noles, but I'm also a Georgia Bulldog at heart. I've been gone for a minute because I've been busy with classes. That being said, what's been going on in the world today has not escaped me. It has not. As a matter of fact, it's been quite troubling. I see the posts on social media from anybody and everybody. I'm blessed to have a mixture of friends, whether they be conservative, whether they be liberal. I guess I should have said conservative, liberal. I guess that would have been on the right sides, but it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. Because what we're forgetting is that the summit of it all is that we're people. We're taking each other for granted. And that's troubling to me. Because the times that we're in, we all want to point to them as being some biblical acknowledgement of days in, when as people we have the ability to change the negativity that's out there in the world. We just refuse to do so. And it's so simple. I look at Christians, and now I don't judge Christians. My grandmother was a Christian. My grandfather was a Christian. I come from a long line of Christians, so I'm not judging Christians. Some of my closest friends are Christians. I know that's like some of my closest friends are blacks. But my problem with it is this. The Christians that don't necessarily fall within the realm of being African American Christians, they're mad at Muslims. Don't understand Muslim religion, could care less if a Muslim was dead or alive. And it's sad when you look at the post, because they want to paint Christianity in a better light than Islamic faith. And I ask myself, how? Why? You either older than me, more educated than me. What is it? These same people, I'll say, well, hey, have you watched Roots? Have you seen 12 Years of Slave? Have you watched The Butler? Have you watched any of those with Rosewood? And they say no, they haven't. So they don't understand what African Americans have to deal with, because they didn't get taught it in school and they're not trying to educate themselves. So I guess if you just want to be naive to what's going on in the world, you can continue your current state of mind, which is that Christianity has been the perfect end all, say all to everything. If you're a Christian, everything is right. And if that was the case, there would not have been slavery. There would not have been Asian Americans incarcerated during the World War, put in camps. There would not be that. There would be no silence when you see Caucasian Americans killing African Americans. There would be no silence when people go up to the abortion clinics and open fire on people and kill them, because at the end of the day, you would sit back as a Christian and you would be like, God is the ultimate judge. God will handle these fools when God decides to handle these fools. You wouldn't make excuses, because that's what they are at the end of the day, is excuses. But you're content to make them. I'm not going to say that's fine, but that's on you. But I'm going to say, block me from your posts, because in 2016 I'm gonna call you on your bullshit. Just block me from your posts so I don't see it, so you don't have to worry about what I'm gonna say, because I am going to say something. But I'm gonna slide you over to the table, because now I want to address my African American brethren. At some point in time, because all lives do matter, Black lives matter, and the only reason why I stress the Black lives matters is because I've seen some of the posts. Some people get upset about what's going on and everything like that, and if we felt so strongly about Black lives matter, we wouldn't be killing each other. I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt that I disagree with that statement. I'm not going to come out and say colon cancer matters. If we were to take care of ourselves, we wouldn't be worried about it. Colon cancer matters. So when a woman stands up and says breast cancer, I'm not going to be shouting in the background, what about colon cancer? We can have both. We really can have both. And I'm not going to sit up here and say, well, we can't say Black Lives Matter because we're out here killing each other, because at the end of the day, what we're looking at is that the police are killing us. The police are killing us. And they have a legal responsibility not to do so. As people, we have a moral responsibility not to kill each other foolishly. Nonsense. But the police, who have taken a sworn oath to serve and protect, they above anybody else should not be taking black lives. You can't say that we can't say black lives don't matter when you can look at news every day and see Caucasian Americans killing women, children, police officers, and be taken into custody. But when it comes to an unarmed African American, that person is perceived as such a threat that they are killed. When you come out, and I understand your frustration, and I'm going to deal with it soon, but when you come out and make such comments, you are only giving people the green light to continue shooting unarmed African men, women, and children. Do not let the topics glaze over one another. Each subject is different in its own right. With that being said, now let's talk about black on black crime. At some point in time, I'm 47. I'm blessed to be able to be out amongst young men half my age on a daily basis. Watch the future of the world come into play. And sometimes guidance is needed, because to a degree they don't see themselves getting to be my age. But look, here I am. You can still do what you're doing now if you just take care of yourself. If you walk a line that treats every man and woman with respect. You young brothers and sisters have got to get it together, because you're in a mindset where you don't respect the elderly. And the elderly is that person is 10 years older than you. And hopefully one day you will be 10 years older. And you're going to deserve the respect from that person 10 years younger than you, if for no other reason than the fact that you've seen more than they've seen in that 10-year gap of time. You walk around, you don't want to respect the person. You don't want to heed the person. That is such a naive and such an ignorant attitude, because you can actually learn from that person if you would just open up your mind and choose to do so. You're fighting over streets that don't belong to you, don't even have your name on them. You're fighting over a pair of shoes that, to be perfectly honest, you would have been better without. You're fighting over a person who doesn't want you. They've clearly chosen to go be with somebody else, but you want to fight the other person. Your anger is misdirected. Your anger should be focused on you being a better person at the end of the day. And that education is there, and I don't care what they say to you. I don't care that they say to you that you can't learn. I don't care that they tell you you don't have as many job opportunities as the next person. What I care about is the actual effort that you put forth. The same effort that you put forth in fighting that person who bumped into you and made you spill your drink, or the same person who skipped you in line when you were trying to buy those brand new pair of shoes. That's what I care about. Because believe it or not, there's more to life than a drink. There's more to life than a pair of shoes that's going to wear out. There's more to life than a relationship with a person who doesn't want to be with you. Life is about passing on your knowledge, your emotions, and your looks down to your children, so that they can pass them down to their children, so that they can pass them down to their children. That's what it means to leave a legacy. If all you've done is slung drugs or made $60,000 a year and really have nothing to show for either one, you're not leaving behind a legacy at all. And that's where you young brothers and sisters are getting it wrong. And I'm not going to sit up here and act like it's all your fault. We as an older generation have failed you. We don't want to be called sir. We don't want to be called ma'am. We don't want to be called auntie, uncle. We don't want to be called granddad, grandfather, grandmother, grandmama. We want to be called cool nicknames like Nana and Papa and everything like that. So when you look at us, we're too interested in being cool as opposed to being mature and wise. And that's our fault. We want to be your friend, but we don't want to be your counselor. We want to help you do wrong instead of telling you, young brother, that's not the way to go. My sister, you could definitely do better than what you're doing. That's on us. But as my grandmother said, God rest her soul, each generation is weaker and wiser. And so you have access to tools that we didn't have at our time. You have a way of knowing right from wrong better than we ever did, which makes it twice as worse because that means you're going out there and pursuing to actually, actively, consciously do wrong. And that is an exact statement regardless of what race you are. Tallahassee, we've seen a lot go on in the past few days, and I didn't want to address it because I know the feelings were raw. To those families, I offer my deepest condolences for your lost ones. To the perpetrators of the crime, I say, you have become a product of the system, the instrument of the system, and now you belong to the system. Not going to go on any further because this is really, I don't like doing harder to paint issues about this. I like to talk about funny stuff, humorous stuff. I like to talk about sports. I don't really like to talk about what's troubling us on a day-to-day basis. But what I will say is this, to the few that's going to read it, because I'm going to go ahead and take my realistic, pessimistic approach to this. This video is not going to go viral. I have almost 1,000 friends on Facebook. You'll see this and you'll keep scrolling right on by it because you know me. If it was somebody you didn't know, you share it with 1,000 people, but that's not what you're going to do. But the message is still the same. The message is still the same. If you want racism to end on both fronts, stop condoning it. Stop being in the room with your friends and they talk about another person's race, and while they laughing and joking, you either don't say anything or you sheepishly walk away. Challenge them on their ignorance. That's how we get rid of racism. Learn about one another. Pick up a book. If you've never took an African American class, take one. If you have a computer at home and you don't know much about African American culture, pull it up. If you haven't seen these movies that tell you, accurate movies that tell you about things that have occurred in the African American history, which is American history, watch it. You have nothing to lose. If anything, you have a lot to gain. To my brothers and sisters, just stop. Stop with the senseless violence. You brothers and sisters in Chicago, just know this. And it's not just brothers and sisters in Chicago. It's brothers and sisters everywhere. Just know that if any point in time the United States of America felt like you were a threat to the modern way of doing things, they would wipe you out like that. But because you keep yourself in the little corner and you do the self-extermination bit, you are good to go. You never have to worry about them coming to look for you. Continue to sell your drugs. Continue to sell your women, our women. Continue to kill one another, and you'll be fine. But just know if you ever cross over that imaginary line, martial law will be imposed, and I'm not making that up. As far as religion goes, you can say what you will, you can say what you want to. If we're to believe that we're all God's children, then we're all God's children. And at the end of the day, we will answer for all of our sins. And you need to know that there are 7 deadly sins. And all of us are guilty of at least one. And if you are guilty of at least one sin, know within God's eyes, all sins are equal. And know that you cannot cast a stone at a fellow man, woman, or child who is sinning while you yourself are sinning. Remember, he died for our sins. And this is coming from somebody who says they're more spiritual than religious. That is my time. I'm out. My full name is Gerald Theophilus Butler. I go by Theo. This Hard in the Paint segment is being done by Theo B. I truly love, care, and respect each and every last one of you. But it's worth nothing if you do not love, care, and respect yourself. Peace.